If you're interested in tips for losing weight, then stick around because I'm going to share with you the 5 things I had to stop doing in order to lose 90 pounds. I lost 70 pounds in 9 months, mainly with the 75 Hard Challenge, cleaning up my diet, eliminating processed sugar. I went on to start running and strength training. I had a tummy tuck after losing 70 pounds, and then I started training for a marathon and lost 16 additional pounds. So my weight loss journey total, I've lost approximately 90 pounds. And there were just some things that I had to stop doing in order to finally see weight loss success. The first thing I had to stop doing was food associations, and I was really bad about this. And what I mean is associating food with certain people, certain places, certain things, certain events. I was really bad about this, especially when it came to places. For instance, if I went to the movie theater, I had to have popcorn. Like, how do I go to the movies and not eat popcorn? It's just what you do. And so it's very difficult for me to be able to go to a movie theater, sit down and watch a movie for 2.5 hours and not mindlessly eat popcorn. My family likes to go to sporting events. And again, same thing. Popcorn and the ice cream and the cotton candy and the drinks and I felt that I needed those things in order to have a great time at the sporting event. Even when it came to like places that I would frequent just like in everyday life, like the grocery store. There's a grocery store near me that sells a giant M&M cookie. It is the best cookie ever. And I had to stop going into that store during my weight loss journey because I always associated that cookie with going into that grocery store. Anytime that store came up and I knew I was going into that store, I automatically thought of that cookie, and I wasn't leaving that store without the cookie. Same thing with CVS. I associated CVS with the Reese's peanut butter cups, the peanut butter eggs. And I would go into CVS, and it didn't matter what I went into CVS for, but my mind automatically went to, don't forget the peanut butter eggs. You got to have 2 of them and you got to eat them both. And that's exactly what I would do. Is I would have 2 of them, and it was like it was automatic. It was done without thinking about it. It was like my brain was conditioned to have these thoughts and to want this food. And I just simply went along with it. And so I really had to stop with the food associations. And in certain cases, I had to stop going to certain places just so I could break the association that that place had with a specific food. Another thing that I had to stop doing was accepting food just because it was offered to me. So think about it. You go into Costco or Sam's and they have the little sample stand set up, and there's someone standing there and they're offering this to you. It's food and it's free, and you might be on an empty stomach when you're in the store, so you grab it and you eat it. I had to stop doing that. I had to stop accepting food just because it was offered to me. When I used to fly Delta, they had the Biscoff cookies, the little oval Biscoff cookies, and they are so good. And when the flight attendants came around and they offered you the cookie, of course you're going to take the cookie. Like, the cookie is delicious. And I would take the cookies, and sometimes I'd take my travel companions' cookies and I'd eat them all. And but it was because it was offered to me. And I just simply took it and ate it because it was offered to me. What happens when a coworker brings treats into the office? They bring in cookies and pies and banana pudding, and oh my gosh, you got to taste a little bit of everything just because it was offered to me. And I just had a really hard time saying no to food that was offered to me. It was like either it was free, and why would you not take free food? Or, you don't want to hurt the person's feelings, so you take it and you eat it. And it's like, I eventually had to say, no, you don't need it. You don't want it. You're only accepting it because it's free, or you don't want to hurt someone's feelings. You need to put yourself first. And I just simply had to start saying no, just simply because things were offered to me. Another thing that I had to do to lose 90 pounds was to stop eating processed sugar. When I started 75 Hard Challenge, I was on a trail mix kick. That was my thing at the time. I was eating trail mix by the handfuls, by the bagfuls. And with trail mix, it has like candies in them. So, you know, I was eating the equivalent of like 2 to 3 bags of M&Ms at one sitting in that with that trail mix, and just absentmindedly eating it. You know, it's that mixture of salt and sugar, and it just keeps you coming back for more. So when I started 75 Hard Challenge, what I considered to be a cheat meal, because you can't eat cheat meals on 75 Hard, what I considered a cheat meal was processed sugar. So I let go of the cakes, the candies, the pies, the cookies, the ice cream, the trail mix, all the stuff that is good to us but not good for us. I quit it cold turkey. And that was one of the best things that I could have done for my weight loss. What I found is that that sugar was keeping me from losing weight, that my body didn't know how to process all of the sugar that I was eating. So it was simply storing it as fat, and it was storing everything else that I ate as fat. My body just could not keep up with the insulin spikes, and it got to the point where everything was being stored as fat. So when I stopped eating all of that sugar and my blood sugar regulated, it was at that point then I was able to really start to burn fat, and I was able to finally lose weight. But I had to give up the processed sugar, and I had to give it up cold turkey, and I was able to finally kickstart my weight loss by doing that. Another thing I had to do in order to lose 90 pounds was I had to stop drinking my calories. I wasn't a real big soda drinker, but I was real big on things like juices and teas and coffee. Sweet tea, oh my gosh, I'm from the South, and so, you know, I liked sweet tea with everything that I could eat. I was drinking sweet tea with it. I like coffee, and with coffee you gotta have creamer, you gotta have sugar, and I was putting in sugar. So, you know, somebody told me one time, oh, you like coffee with your sugar. That's how much sugar I was putting into the coffee. And so while black coffee typically has 0 calories, I was adding all of that sugar to it, and then I was adding the cream to it, and I was just adding it was just calories and sugar. It was just calories and sugar. And so I had to stop drinking my calories. When I started 75 Hard Challenge, you have to drink a gallon of water per day. And that is tough. That is tough to get in a gallon of water per day, especially because I have a sleeve. And so not only was it a mental challenge, it was also a physical challenge, because I just have a physical capacity of how much of anything I can intake at one time. And so I was only drinking water for the duration of 75 Hard Challenge, because that was all I barely got in the water, right? So I had to drink nothing but water. There was one time on the challenge where I had an 8-ounce cup of coffee. It was black. I didn't have anything in it. I had no sugar or no cream in it. It was black, but it wasn't pure water, so I couldn't count it towards my water challenge. And I was like, well, I just wasted 8 ounces of, you know, that 8 ounces of coffee that I drank could have been 8 ounces of water towards my goal for the day. So that was the one time on the challenge where I had something other than water, and I was like, it wasn't worth it. I need to be focused on water. So I stopped drinking my calories, and that helped me to be successful with my weight loss. Now, I still drink water. If I want something other than pure water, I'll drink like water with the Crystal Light pack. Sometimes I will do that. You still can't drink too many of those though, because they do have like an artificial sugar in them. And so, you know, sometimes if I want a different flavor, I'll drink that. But otherwise, I try not to drink my calories. I try to be very mindful about my calories, because a lot of times the beverages that we're drinking, if they do have calories in it, it means they also have sugar in it. And so I just try to be very mindful about that and stick to water as much as possible. And finally, the last thing that I had to stop doing in order to lose weight was I had to stop sleeping in. And this actually holds very true right now. I get up in the morning and I exercise before work, and it is the best time for me to exercise, because as my day goes on and I get tired, and you know, the work day has been a drag, and you know, I'm just mentally drained, I don't want to exercise. And so for me, I had to stop sleeping in and just be resigned to getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and getting in my workout. Sometimes, depending on what's going on, if I have to commute into the office that day, I'm actually getting up even earlier than 5 a.m. But if I don't get that workout in first thing in the morning, I am less likely to get the workout in throughout the course of the day. And so that's why I'm always talking about 5 a.m. workouts, because it's actually what I do. And what I find is that even on like holidays and on the weekends, the same holds true. I cannot sleep in, because the later in the day that it gets, even though I'm not working, the later in the day that it gets, the less likely I am to want to put on clothes, workout clothes, and go down to my basement and work out. So I had to stop sleeping in altogether. I have to get up early enough in the morning to be able to get in my workout before I get on with my day. And doing that has helped me to be successful in my weight loss efforts as well as my weight maintenance efforts, because I'm continuing the consistency, I'm continuing the pattern of working out, because I've just resigned myself to having to get up in the morning and do it. There's so many things that we do that can sabotage our weight loss efforts. And some of those things we do and we don't even realize that we're doing them. We're self-sabotaging, and it's simply because we formed a bad habit and we don't know, either we're not conscious of it or we don't know how to break it. So you really have to be determined that you're going to break those bad habits that are keeping you from losing the weight. And then you just have to be very mindful and do them. It's hard. Yes, it is hard. It's going to be tough at first. But as long as you're consistent in doing what it takes to break those habits, eventually you will form new habits. Eventually you'll be performing habits that will help you in your weight loss efforts versus hindering you in your weight loss efforts. If this video has been helpful to you, take a moment and give it a thumbs up. I would appreciate it so much. And if you have any questions about other things that I may have done to break bad habits or to form new habits on my weight loss efforts, leave those in the comments below. I would love to continue this conversation with you. If you haven't subscribed to the community yet, take a moment, hit the subscribe button. I'd love to have you here as part of our community. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.